Welcome to my July 2022 wrap-up for reading wrap-up. This wasn't the best reading month for me. I didn't read as many as I normally do, which is fine, but the quality of my reads wasn't the best either. And I'm not exactly sure if it was the book's fault at all, or if it was just my headspace where I was at, because I was distracted a lot. I was a very hectic month for me, just in life in general. So I felt like I wasn't as invested in the books as I was reading them. So it might have been more on me, but let me know, your thoughts if you've read these books, and because maybe I'm not, maybe I didn't get as much out of them as I would have if I would have read them in a different setting or a different time. So to start the month, I think I read Beneath Cruel Waters by John Bassoff, maybe is how you say that. And I did give this one 4 stars. It's kind of a slow build, so it took me a little while to get into it. But as the storyline progressed, I really became invested, and the character development was great. I did kind of feel like I maybe knew where it was going at parts, and so maybe that took away from it a little bit. But in this one, we're following Holt Davidson, which is a Kansas firefighter. And he returns to his hometown in Colorado, I believe, when he learns that his mother has taken her own life, and they've been estranged, so they weren't very close. And he goes to the funeral and spends the night in his childhood home. And while there is kind of rummaging through papers and things in the house and whatnot, and as he's doing this, the story of his mother's history and childhood kind of is revealed. But it is very tense, because there's a very mysterious element to it, and so it did keep me invested in it and intrigued. So, and the writing style in general was, I felt like I couldn't stop turning the pages. So that I did really like about it. So it did get 4 stars for me. Then I read Meet Me in the Margins. Meet Me in the Margins by Melissa Ferguson. And I gave this one 3 stars. But this one is one that maybe it would deserve more on, if I had read it under better circumstances, because I really did like this one. But I kind of feel like maybe I've read a lot of these lately too, and so maybe that took away from part of it. This is like a rom-com type of book. In the literary world, she's, it's Savannah Cade is an editor, I believe. She works at a publishing house, and she has written a book, and she is trying to get it published. And it's been turned down, and it ends up in this room in the publishing house where all the arcs are or whatnot. And somebody is, next time she goes to get it, she realizes somebody has made comments in the margins. And so then they kind of go back and forth with their notes, editing this book, and get to know each other through their notes and whatnot. So it was a really cute one. And I did really like it. It just, I don't know. Like I said, it might have been better if I had been in a better headspace, but just didn't really stick out as anything exceptional to me. And then I read The Proposal by Jasmine Gullory. Not sure how you say that. This one, again, I gave 3 stars to. And this is a woman is proposed to in front of the Jumbotron at a baseball game, I believe. And she doesn't really know this guy very well. They haven't been dating long. And so she says no or wants to say no and doesn't want to do it in front of camera or something. And it's kind of a embarrassing situation. And this guy sees it happening and he's only a few rows up, and so he goes to try to interrupt the situation to distract from it. So he comes in and he's like, "Oh, hi, I haven't seen you forever," type of thing, and saves her from the situation. So, and then they kind of get to know each other. So, and it was fine. I mean, it kept me entertained. I kept listening. I think I did this one on audiobook, so I kept listening to it. So obviously I thought it was good. It was entertaining. But again, just nothing exceptional that stood out to me. But gave it 3 stars. So, sometimes I use these rom-coms as kind of a palate cleanser between thrillers and mysteries and whatnot. And they're easier to listen to when I'm cleaning the house or walking the dogs or gardening. And so they don't have to be wonderful. They serve the purpose. Shh. Sorry. So the next one that I read was The Book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James. And I had really high hopes for this because I had read The Sundown Motel, and I really kind of liked that one a lot. I think I gave that one 4 stars. But this one I only gave 3 stars. And I just couldn't seem to get quite as invested in this one. But I think part of that might have been because I had listened to it on audiobook instead of reading a physical copy. And but this one is kind of a dual timeline. Let's see, current timeline is 2017, and Shay Collins has a true crime podcast or website, and she's investigating a murder that took place in 1977. And she has lined up some interviews with Beth Greer, who was acquitted of the crime. She was the main suspect at the time, and she was acquitted, but since then has kind of led a life of isolation in her mansion. And as the interviews progress, you kind of learn more about the Beth Greer's history and her family. And, I don't know. I liked it. And it was good. It just didn't seem as good. So I can't really explain why. And like I said, part of that was probably me, or maybe it was because it was on audiobook, but, just wasn't my favorite. After that, I read The Club, by Ellery, Lloyd. And I think at the time I gave this one 3 stars, but looking back, I might rate it a little higher, like 3.5, maybe 4 stars. This was a page turner. I mean, it was pretty thrilling. I think personally, I didn't like it as much because it kind of had that celebrity aspect to it, and I don't really follow that or like that type of in general in my life, and I guess I couldn't care about the characters much because they seemed to be rich and famous and like just thought they deserved everything and whatnot. And I guess I didn't care if any of them died or if things went wrong in their life or they had, were being blackmailed or whatever was happening. Like it didn't matter to me. I thought, well, serves you right for doing these awful things in the first place. So I don't know. I had a hard time sympathizing with the characters. Yeah, I know. So then the last one that I read was a beginner's guide. Oh, I think I gave did I already say that I gave the club 3 stars, and I think I might bump that up to maybe 3.5. I mean, I liked the writing style. I liked the plot line. I just didn't care much for the characters. So then I read A Beginner's Guide to Murder by Rosalind Stoops. Not quite sure how to say that. And I gave this one 2 stars, but I just hate to give anybody 1 star, but really that's probably where I feel this one was at. So this one follows a group of women, older women, that are, I think, having coffee together one day, and a girl runs in and is terrified, and they kind of step in to try to help her. And somebody's chasing her, and she's been previously kidnapped and has escaped. And so they're trying to figure out how to make this gentleman stop chasing her or not kidnap her again and whatnot. Parts of it were kind of funny, I think, is where it was meant to go. But it was also very dark. And then there were parts that I didn't understand because it seemed like it was current timeline, but then things that would happen or were said, I felt like this isn't how the world works right now, or is this set back in whatever time frame, or is this, I think this takes place in London. So then I kind of, was like, are they saying that there's parts of London that would operate like this, or, like they couldn't call the police because the police wouldn't help them. And, because they were women, and I don't know. I just had a hard time. Stop. Understanding where this was coming from, or what time frame this was supposed to be in, or where this was supposed to be, or that type of thing. And then to mix from the description, I felt like this was supposed to be a little more funny side of murder. And I think it tried to be at times with the whole old lady situation and their conversations. And things like that. But then it just was so dark that it felt like they didn't both fit in the same book or something. I don't know. I just had a really hard time understanding this one. If anybody's read it and maybe I was missing the point of something, let me know. Stop. And I believe that is it. So all in all, not a great a great reading month for me. But I think going forward, my life should be a little less hectic. So maybe that will improve my rating system or my reading, how my reading goes going forward. So keep your fingers crossed for me. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.